Thank you, Anupam. Just to inform all the audience here that shortly we'll be joined by Dr. Yashwant Gurkar. He is the Executive Director for Center for E-Governance. Because we are already running late by the schedule and it will be difficult for the audience to be held on beyond the stipulated time. So without waiting, we just thought to start with this panel discussion. As I mentioned today in the morning that governance is one such sector which is all pervasive. In all aspects of our lives, we have governance. And since morning, we have had very lively discussions on the usage of new age technologies, AI, ML, and Gen AI, and how they are impacting the societies at large. So how can these technologies be leveraged in the government? How can the governments of the day can leverage these technologies and bring a real transformation in the life of an ordinary person? So we have here, as the anchor just mentioned, we have a senior officer from here, from the Registration Department of Karnataka government, Dr. Mamta. So Dr. Mamta, my opening question to you, how do you see technology being an enabler in transforming life of an ordinary citizen?
Thank you, Krishnendu. I would say we are in the digital age. I think we are even beyond digital age now. We are moving to another space almost altogether. And earlier it was governance. And it was governance and government did the governance. Now it's more than that. It's the expectation of people have gone up. It is more participatory. People are looking for participation. They no longer want just to be just consumers. They want to participate. So there's a participatory governance kind. We are moving to participatory governance. And it should not be possible if it was not for technology. If it was not in this age where we are using technology, it was not be possible to go into this kind of a transformation where public could demand to be a part and to be the true partner. Earlier we used to just call them stakeholders, partners, but it was not really in the true sense. To be in the true sense for public to become partners with government, it's only possible through technology. Now, another thing that I'd like to say very much is now it's no longer, governance cannot work in silos. No department or no government can say I can work in silo. Across the government also, no department can work in silo. Everybody needs to collaborate, coordinate, not collaborate just within the government, across governments, whether it is government of state, government of the center, across the globe, plus it has to collaborate with NGOs, with industry, business partners. So the digital age has transformed governance to a state where everybody works towards it and everybody becomes a true partner and a participant in this. So using the newest, the baby technologies, as we'd like to call it, nascent technologies, like AI or for that matter, remote computing, AI, GIS, all this will sort of help us towards achieving the transparency that people are looking for, the collaboration that it's required to make governance, really citizen-centric, and the coordination and the technology partner for making this whole thing work towards what we call the true governance in the sense of making it the true citizen-centric governance.
Well, governance can no more work in silos, as rightly said by Dr. Mamta. Parvakarji, you would like to add something more to this?
Here I'd like to tell one example. Like we have now launched Kaveri 2. In Kaveri 2, earlier public just came, entered their document, and they gave it to us, we did everything for them. Now they do their own entry of document sale deeds. They are part of everything that we are doing. Similarly, we cannot work in silo either. We have to look at the rural land data, we have to look at the urban land data, we have to look at various things, and we are integrated with all this. We need to integrate with a lot more government, the planning department needs to come on board, land planning department, the Aadhaar authentication also needs to come. It's a central government thing. So we have many government departments and many private partners who are working with us to make this, truly citizen-centric and public participation.
Thank you, ma'am. Prabhakarji, your quick comments on this topic.
Thank you, Krishna. If you look at what is happening in the government now presently, we are moving towards minimum government, maximum governance. And if you look at it from past 15 years, what we have built up, our India stack and the digital infrastructure, what we have done, we have taken a leap bound into that one. We need to get all this thing into the system. As Madam was rightly saying, we need to interconnect this because a lot of applications are developed at different matured level. And in the governance, it all depends on the name of a person, our identity. It always depends on identity. Now we have the biggest solution for identity, Aadhaar. Through that, we have solved many things then. You must have heard also then, everyone knows what is the Jam Trinity, what the revolution it has done in the financial inclusion also then. Similarly, we are also, when we have resolved that human interface, identity, land also we are coming out, like Alpin. It has a unique Aadhaar for the land. Once land is also done, most of the things will become easy for us. Getting a service, all. So at your mobile, now e-governance was electronic governance. Later it became easy governance. Now it is mobile governance. Now we are calling it as meaningful governance. This is where we are trying to move ahead. And this will be the reality.
Thank you, Prabhakarji. My question next to Dr. Mamta here. As far as usage of technology is concerned, could you please enlighten the audience with about some real projects of Government of Karnataka, how various departments are collaborating among themselves, various departments collaborating with the industry and coming out with some impactful projects?
Usually, when we talk about any kind of projects or any technology for that matter, we would start with a person. So personal identity. So government of Karnataka has come up with something called Kutumba. Kutumba actually maps the family members, and it also maps each one in the sense like what is the person's income, what is the person doing, how many children he has, and then what are the children doing. So plus the person's ration card number, the Aadhaar number, the PAN card number, voter ID number, everything comes on one identity, and that identity becomes the Kutumba identity. Moving forward from there, suppose now the child joins school. So the school, again, you don't, earlier, for getting a, the school also has this identity, the Kutumba identity or the child number for the scholarship, getting the scholarship, or for getting a bus pass, or getting, even the marks cards, printing out marks cards, everything. For all their transaction in the school and colleges, it moves from the Kutumba number. You can pull out from the Kutumba number. Going further, once a person takes employment, now verification. Now we have so many different multi-caste, community, cultural, identities. And we also many multiple income identities. So to be able to check out whether this person is what he claims, whether his income is what he claims. Earlier we had to send out requests and get it physically. Now we can actually pull it. We can pull from the revenue database, from the Kutumba database, what his income for that time is, or from the revenue database, we can pull out his caste or community certificate. If he's claiming any reservation, claiming anything, you can pull it out from there. Now going further, the person may want to buy a house, or the person may be coming under the BPL family. So he may want to be given a house. So you will be able to check out whether he really has a house, he doesn't have a house. So that is another package. So then coming to Kaveri. Now a person comes and registers land. Before registering, the land will already have an identity. So it is already in one database. So when he comes for registration to our office, he uploads, as I told you, he uploads his own document. He checks what's the valuation of the document. So the verification of the land, whether the land or the property is worth buying or not, he can make out from that when he enters his data. What are the encumbrances? What are the liabilities on that project? I mean, on that property or the land, that he'll be able to identify because we are linked to the land database. So that is land database is Bhumi, and everybody knows Bhumi is the repository of all the details of a rural agricultural land. So further, we have a repository of all the urban lands called the e-Asti. We have a repository of all the rural Gram Tana, what is that, the housing and other kinds of lands in the rural area, that is called the e-Sottu. Then this, we have to have, for any agricultural land to be pieced out and sold, you need to have a sketch. So there is a survey department, the survey department's Mojini is linked with it. So Mojini is a software which will actually put out all the sketches. Now, further going, when you have converted your land, you've converted an agricultural land and you want to become, make it into a developed layout, then you have a software called e-Vinyasa. E-Vinyasa is nothing but that which gives the planning of the layout, and it gives the plan for that thing. It sanctions the plan for that thing. So you're linked to that. Then further, once you've finished your registration, we push those, we actually check the ownership. We check the ownership, whether the land belongs, the property belongs to so-and-so, whether the property is what he claims is, whether it is a rural property, urban property. We go out into those softwares, pull out the data, check, verify it. The registration is done. Once the registration is done, again we push back into the system that the registration has been, this property has been sold by A to B. And so the Kata has to stand. The ownership document should be for, say, Krishna, from Prabhakar to Krishna. So it should be in Krishna's name. So we will push that detail back to the system. So then there is an mutation, and then there is Khata. So we will be further pushing, if it is a house, it may require electricity connection, change of electricity connection, the name in the electricity connection and water connection, we will be pushing it there too. So the citizen no longer needs to be running, and these are the various softwares that are already there in the government. Going further, we also have, wherever any benefit needs to be given, any financial benefit needs to be given, we have a system which we will be able to provide that. We have a system developed for that also, DBT system for it. In addition, the various departments that come under land have their own systems. The departments that come in transport, again BMTC, the transport systems, they have their own systems. So there are n number of systems in government of Karnataka, which, Karnataka being the leading force in e-governance, every department has n number of. So what government of Karnataka is finally looking at, it's looking at not being able to make citizen run from pillar to post. Citizen will get whatever delivered on his mobile, not even on his laptop or in his thing. It will be delivered to whatever needs to be delivered to his DigiLocker. So that is the ultimate thing that we are looking for. And those are the number of softwares we have. I've just named a few. There are n number of such softwares available. And for farmers, earlier to get a loan, he had to first go to a bank, then the bank will process his loan. The bank will send him back to the registration office for making his mortgage. Then he has to go back to the bank again. N number of steps to be followed. Now we've made it very easy by introducing fruits. It's a unified software where the mortgage and other things, whatever he does, he need not come to the sub-registrar office. It is done in the bank itself. The bank just pushes that into our system and we do it it's a faceless system. Karnataka is again now moving towards certain documents, certain registrations to be faceless. So we don't need to see you. You're buying a property from BDA, Bangalore Development Authority, then we don't need to see you. BDA needs to see you. BDA will do everything. It will push it into our system. We will file it. So similarly, there are many such reforms that the government has been looking at. I have just named in the area that I am working in the land and property area. But when we go into health, there are n number of systems in the health department. And there are a lot of systems, like we have something called Seva Sindhu, which has tied down all these systems. It provides a unified platform for people to go to and to apply and get whatever they want from that system. Sakala, there is Sakala. Sakala is a system again. Sakala is the citizens' guarantee of time-bound services. So Sakala ensures whatever service is delivered through Seva Sindhu is delivered on a promised time. That time is promised to you, and on the promised time, the service is delivered to you. So it sort of ties up, and we are, as I was just telling you earlier, we are now moving towards that unified thing, to that collaboration that we need, and with that collaboration, we are also moving towards making technology the hinge or the fulcrum on which the entire government will run.
So technology is the hinge on which the entire governance will function. Before I come to elaborate more on this point, I'll bring in Prabhakar ji here. Prabhakar is the Assistant Inspector General in the Revenue Registration Department and the Stamp and Registration Department of Karnataka, dealing primarily with the land management and land surveys. So Prabhakar, as per you, what are the major challenges in land management and what are the possible solutions for it?
That's a very complex thing, Krishnadhan. So we have a major mentality in Indians. The moment, first all 20 years you get into studies, then the job, then rest of your life making a property. That's one of the wish, and it's a cost. What it makes complex is the cost. And to add on to that, the major thing is that, imagine, I'll give an example. I have a car which is costing 1 crore. On how do I transfer it? I just sign on form and give it to you. RTO will transfer it. The same property which is fetching 1 lakh or 10 lakhs, what is the difficulty in getting registration? See, this is what the complexity. Even if you look at the law clearly says buyer beware. We don't have a system where a title, one document gives you the title. It goes along with a series of documents, you have to supplement it. This is where the complexity is added for the land administration. Besides that, identification of a land is also very crucial now. You must have kept on reading, this property has been sold to many people, so bogus has happened, this has happened. This is because we are unable to identify exactly this. Now we have a technology called GIS. We can map it. This is one of the major issues, is identifying the land. This is if we clear this identity of a land with using a GIS and give a unique number for that one, like we were talking about Alpens, this will resolve the identity crisis of a land. Once if this major issue is resolved, we don't have any issues in the land administration. We can identify. The moment it is identified, problems is resolved. That's the thing. This is the only major issue in the land administration.
So how are you leveraging GIS for mapping and surveying the land records?
Now there are a lot of programs are going on in the whole country. Now we are flying and drones to identify the properties. We are mapping it. We are also aerial surveys are been happening. Based on that, the traditional legacy records we are mapping and we are doing the surveys. I mean, just looking at that, we are resolving it and we are giving you cards. Yes, this is your land. Once this is done, each property will have a Alpin number which is unique in the country, just like Aadhaar. Once this identity, this Alpin will have a GIS coordinates. Nobody can duplicate. Now, Aadhaar cannot be duplicated. Aadhaar is a one in digital identifier, a biological person. Like that, Alpin will be there usually then. Once Alpin is created, I'm sure days to come, land will become a kind of commodity. It's very clearly identifiable. Its owners are identifiable. The transaction can be traceable through banks. This is where we are heading, and this is what the future, and it is we know the solution. Only thing is a kind of implementation, it takes its own time. Solution is very clear then. We have a tools, technological tools where we can resolve all the issues then.
True. We do hope that we do have those solutions well in time. Governments of the day, they, by virtue of their functionality, they deal with a humongous data. You see, there is no dearth of data which the government handles and the government takes care of. And we often have heard about privacy issues. There are issues with regards to privacy. At the same time, we expect governments to be accountable also, governments to be transparent also. So my question to Dr. Mamta, how do you strike a balance between right to privacy and right to accountability and openness?
It's a difficult question, Krishna. One side we say transparency. As I told you, expectations of people is towards transparency. The moment we move towards transparency, automatically the government starts moving into people's homes, into people's lives, into people's privacy. If we don't move into the privacy, we can't really achieve transparency. So there is it's like a chick and the egg kind of a story, and it is like walking on thin ice. But one thing that governments in future will need to do, or which already the people have realized, is how much to put into the public domain and how much to keep. Now when we need to put certain things, like for example, I will give in our situation itself, we put out sale deeds in the private, into public domain because there is a mandate. In the transparency, we are supposed to put who has brought which property and which property belongs to whom. So we need to put that thing. So there we may need to, yes, say this property has been sold, this property belongs to Krishna. But we don't need to give them your thumb impression. You don't need to give them your photograph. We can even mask your photograph. What a person, the third person, if it is Prabhakar is sold to Krishna, both of you need to know and both of you need that document. But the third person just needs to know this property X belongs to now, no longer belongs to Prabhakar, it belongs to Krishna. So who this Krishna is, they need not know. In the sense like, yes, there's one Krishna in so-and-so address. But what is the other details of Krishna? I don't think it is necessary to be put. So we have to start thinking. Earlier what we did is, just in the name of transparency, we started taking a lot of data, we started pushing it into the public domain and said, look, I have met all the mandates of transparency. As per the Right to Information Act, whatever I needed to declare, I have declared. So I am safe. But now I need to look a little further and say, look, in this, what is that I need to give? What is that? What does the mandate ask? So the certain amount of discretion needs to come in as to what should be put in the thing and what. So it makes it little difficult. It's not like raw data can no longer be pushed.
So data has to be processed, and it's processed data which needs to be put out in the document. So X needs to know only this much, Y needs to know this. And why we should also understand why does X or Y need to know certain data. What is the mandate for X or the public to know what data? So that much of information needs to be put. Even the information we put out should not be raw data. For example, you go into a mall, you will be entering all your data there. Because somebody says, I'm going to give you iPad, free iPad. I'm sure everybody will just start giving there. So the data now gets into somebody's hands. Now how much of data that person needs to, we need to give that data for that iPad? Only that much data needs to be given. Yeah.
Correct. Ma'am, earlier to this you were mentioning that you were talking about the mutation process wherein everything will be done without any intervention automatically, even if there could be a telephonic connection or electricity connection, the person might be having gas connection. So does it not call for integration of all these service providers with you?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. It's the integration is what we are looking at. That's what is collaboration. Digital collaboration is nothing but integrating. So we need systems which can talk to each other, and we need to, the systems become the entity which needs to talk and not us. Physically, people need not, authorities need not talk to each other, but the systems need to talk to each other. And again, how much of information sharing has to happen, that also we should think. If a person requires electricity connection and he has just registered his property, I just need to give him so-and-so person, this is his sale deed, there is a sale deed. So certain information needs to be pushed, not the entire deed itself. So certain information, what we call it as J-slip or something, where we put in only certain information that the electrical department requires to give you an change the electrical connection from the old owner to you. That's all we need to do. So again, information needs to be shared between the systems. So integration will provide that. And integration also, we need to process the data, and only processed data needs to go into the integration. So the systems, let's say Kaveri has the potential to now analyze the data and quickly give out within at real time what needs to go to electricity board, what needs to go to water board, what needs to go to the revenue authorities for mutation of the kata and for the ownership title. So that needs to be, that is the need of the day. So that is where artificial intelligence and comes into picture. That makes it, and GIS, as my colleague was just now talking about, these are the kind of tools that we require to process this data and put up this data in the various forums.
I'll add to certain things to that one. See, Krishna, if you should understand what public expectation is that they should go to the government office as minimum as possible. And you should also look at a government document is kept at one side. For the same government document, he has to go to that office and he has to give that same document to another government office. This concept has to change. Through this, we have achieved through integration. There's a lot of difficulties in integration because department has their own kinds of systems. Their identifying issues are also different then. So what it has helped to solve us is one, for identity purpose, Aadhaar has helped us. Where Aadhaar through number we connected. Now, I have an electricity board, as madam was saying. I'm selling the property. Why can't electricity identifier board pull out the data from me and automatically change the electric bill name? They're all government services only then. Why can't Kata happens itself? Why a public has to run around? This is the philosophy why the integration has been enforced, and government Karnataka is a pioneer in that. In fact, a lot of departments are interoperable now. We are trying to bring, as madam was saying, we are trying towards a kind of cashless, faceless, paperless. And we want to take out the offices also. Only front-end office will be one where you have to get all the services. Rest of all main functions will go behind, back-end work. like Madam was referred already, Seva Sindhu, where you can go and apply for anything. This is where we are moving towards, and this is where the integration comes into picture.
So those scenes of public running around in IGR departments, now things of past?
If you look at that, ma'am, you want to say? Now, if you take a recent example only, last week, we came out with a service on marriage. Those who get married in terms of under Hindu law, they need not go to any office now. Sitting at your home, you apply, you get your certificate. Absolute no visit to office. This is complete end-to-end digital. The certificate comes to your DigiLocker or your account only, then download it. It's a valid kind of certificate. Similarly, we have brought this to the encumbrance certificate and also certified copy. There are certain restrictions for the property registration, which recently, 2 days back, the legislation has been passed. Shortly, that will happen. So, it's only in one department, not only in one department. Many departments are doing this one. They're trying to cut short the visits. The best thing is that for the public is minimum visit, less number of trips, the cost. These are the parameters where they judge the government. Madam, you wanted to add something on that one?
Yeah, I was just trying to say, it is that earlier what was happening is you had systems, platforms were different, the language in which this application was written in difference, so you could not get them to talk to each other. Now we have technology which will enable whatever be the platform, whatever be the operating system, whatever the system is, it allows two systems to talk to each other. So it makes it much easier for governance to bring everything, like we just said, end to end. So now we are looking at from birth of a child to the child growing up and dying till the death. Everything will be integrated. So we will not ask you to provide, after 5 years, we will not ask you to provide some other document. We know where you are, what you are doing, and we'll be able to pull out those documents as and when we require it for giving you some other benefit.
What are the challenges which you face in this digital transformation journey? Typical challenges.
Yeah. The biggest challenge was to be able to find a technology which will allow systems to talk to each other. Yeah. Second challenge, we should now say we have a mature technology, no doubt, but we have an aged workforce. In the sense, if you look at most government offices, recruitments have not happened for centuries now, almost. I'm just exaggerating, maybe 10, 15 years, recruitments have not happened. So workforce...
60,000 vacancies were publicized in UP government.
Yeah. So every government, it's not just UP government, every government, there are huge vacancies. So who fills up the vacancy? Who's to fill up that vacuum? So that is one of the challenges, because we have an aged workforce. The workforce will not accept technology so easily. Change management is the real important thing here. Change for people, even for mindset of people. People love to go and see a government officer's face. They love to, tell others. If you listen to a common conversation in a park, you'll find people telling, oh, I know so-and-so. I know so-and-so's brother is my so-and-so. So it makes it very important for them to know a government officer and to be able to go there and meet that person. And it's a great pride to say that, I got it done. Everybody gets it done at 15 days. I got it done in 1 day because I knew so-and-so. That is the challenge. People like to do that. So now to change that mindset to say, look, government is just another service organization. You are paying for the service. You are paying taxes. You are paying for the service. You jolly well get it without knowing everybody. That mindset, changing that mindset itself is the biggest challenge. Okay, going further, within the workforce, for them to adopt various things, and we find that difficulty every day. Getting Kaveri 2 was envisaged sometime in 2014. It came out in 2023. We were able to push it in 2023 because the mindset was like that. So we were able to push it. So this mindset within the workforce, That itself is a big challenge. Then things are becoming obsolete, things are moving very fast. Earlier you had a desktop, you could aram say for 10 years you could move on that. Now you don't have to buy the new system. Now everyday versions are changing, platforms are changing. What comes in this year, the mobile phone has changed next year, it becomes something else. So from mobile, probably we will be moving to another technology, which we still maybe in the nascent stages. So we should look at that transformation itself is a challenge. For us to understand and move from technology to technology is a challenge. Now the biggest challenge for public is different versions are coming out. Now, how do I ensure that how do even the offices or the departments or the companies also ensure that there is minimum change for that person, even though we are making a maximum change. So maximum change, minimum changes to be made in the lifestyle. That is a different kind of a challenge that we are all looking at. So like he was talking about, now we are looking at GIS. So for people to understand that and for the technology to, and we can't depend totally on technology. The technology has matured, of course, but it has not done away with human interface. You require flesh and blood, people in flesh and blood, thinking people, to be able to do away with whatever machine can do and to do what the machine cannot do, like certain things within the system that the machine can do. So we have to do quite a major, in the government, I'm talking to you in the government sense, quite a major change of transformation, reorganization needs to be done in the government to make sure that your job chart has only that much that person in flesh and blood needs to do and not what machine can do. Machine is not replacing us, but machine is replacing certain things. So we have to move to something else and move ahead and do something else that only we can do. That is another big challenge.
Prabhakar-ji, would you like to add something more to what she said?
Yeah. Now, Krishna, if you look at the ecosystem of governance, we have four major things with us. That's one is a resource, and also the people, technology, and process. The major issue in all this is always with the resource only. Then, as Madam was rightly saying, change management is biggest issue. Among that also then, biggest lacuna and the challenge in the whole system is the decision making. As you know, when we have adopted electronic governance, the technology keeps on upgrading it. If you don't upgrade, it becomes obsolete. By the time if you don't take a right decision at the upgradation of this thing, the service will always get affected. This is one of the major issue. And if you look at our process also then, the laws, which has a lot of hindrance in procurement also then. We have a lot of stakeholders. Unlike a company which has a particular stakeholders, government for everyone is a stakeholder. Anybody can ask any question. We have to follow the rules and procedure. The transparencies have to be followed. So here the procurement things comes up, which delays it to the longest things. There is some policy change required here also, which can, so that we can adopt the technology quickly, take a better decisions and close the matter. These are the major things, challenging things apart from whatever the madam has said then.
Actually, I'd like to add something. It's not just government alone. Even companies, even product developers, they need to look at the changes happening and need to project themselves in those spaces where they can collaborate with the government or with other companies. So that collaboration mindset should also come in with companies and government. That is another big challenge, to get into that kind of mindset, collaborative mindset. That is another very huge challenge.
In fact, that is one of the fundamental objectives of conferences of Elets, to bridge the knowledge gap and bridge the distance between government and the industry. Before we come to a close of this session, any question from the audience? We have two senior officers from Karnataka government here. Anybody, any question? Ma'am is commenting that since morning they have been sitting here patiently, so they must have been tired out. Eh?
Oh, they must have understood
But
everything.
believe you me, whatever these people do,
They've understood everything, for sure.
they impact our everyday life. So
Right,
my,
any questions? If you have, please shoot. Yeah, yes, a question, sir. So please, yeah.
please identify yourself first before you pose the question.
Purushothaman from Director Goldflex. I would like to know whether you'll be linking the government portals with the legal also, because I see most of the legal issues are, as sir was saying, with small things, the GIS position is not clear or the survey is not done, for which the cases are going on for 15 to 20 years. I feel there should be a linkage between the government portals and the legal system, which will reduce drastically from 15, 20 years to probably few days, I think.
Excellent thought. I would really congratulate you for that. We have come up with something called court cases management system. Court cases management system is where we just draw the court cases and we just give out our replies and we handle cases, we manage the cases. But what you have mentioned is really an excellent suggestion, where I would say courts should also have the access and integrate with the various systems so that they can themselves verify and see whether the various things are there, instead of calling officers, summoning officers to come in person and give them the evidence. They will be able to judge the cases better and faster. Excellent question, and I'm sure we are moving towards that slowly. And every government needs to re-examine. There are many such places where we need to collaborate. So that we need to re-examine. As I told you very much in the beginning, government needs to re-examine, everybody needs to re-examine their structures, restructure and re-engineer themselves to suit the digital age.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Any other questions you have on this side? No? Sir? Wait, please come forward, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, myself Raghunath. So it is related to property after registration. Okay, so BBMP will say that one khata, and if I go to BBMP, they say that okay, this registration property, where we register that property for here, that same registration number can't be integrated with BBMP khata. So if it is been there, it is something like Aadhaar card integration like that. Okay.
Just now you heard Prabhakar talk about Alpin.
Yeah. Okay.
We are further moving towards that,
Okay.
where there will be one identity, like you have only one identity, Aadhaar, there will be one identity for the property. So in future, you will not have this problem. We are slowly moving to, the development is going on in Karnataka to move towards Alpin.
Yeah, and thank you. Yeah.
I'll add to that. Presently in Bangalore, we have, presently it's existing is 200 watts are there. Out of that, 44 watts are already we have integrated. Bangalore, all the properties are maintained in the digital. They're converting into digital also then, although they're also adding GIS to that one. Out of that 44 watts, they have a unique ID for that one. Each property, it may not be Alpin, but somewhat similar to Alpin. They have a unique identity, which is very unique to that property in Bangalore only then. If you enter that number only, property registration will be allowed. That's the kind of tight integration what we have done. In that case, the mutation, whatever the transaction happens here, it automatically, electronically, it goes to the BBMP again. It initiates the Kata transaction without your physical presence. This is what it has been done already, implemented in 44 watts. Once other things is completed, it will be extended to others also then, other areas.
Yeah, thank you. Is that nothing but proper?
In the Panchayat area, it's called E-Sottu.
Okay.
And all Panchayats of Karnataka are linked onto our system. So through E-Sottu, we will be able to, again, a unique identity, and we'll be able to push data to that. You don't have to go there.
Yep.
And they will send your kata.
Okay, thank you. Just one more clarification that recently, as you mentioned, that 44 watts is nothing but through satellite you done that property card issuance. That is same thing you're talking or different one?
They call it as UPR, Urban Property Ownership Rights.
Okay.
They're trying to issue resolve the issues so that you can have a kind of record for the property. That will be clear-cut title. There is no dispute about it. There is no dispute on other boundaries, schedules, all those things that government is trying to introduce that also then, so that you can sleep at peace without tagging into so many other records also then.
Yeah.
It's
Thank
in
you.
progress.
Yeah. Thanks for clarification.
If there is a property, sorry to add this,
Yeah.
if there is a property, let us say you have a 60-40 site. The site is one measurement.
Yes.
You have a house, a 20 squares house on it. On that, you would have put marble flooring. You would have provided all that. So in that, all those details are there in your property tax management system where you pay your property taxes. But whether it is correct or not, and once for all, they have now, and there is only a schedule. It is in Jayanagar, 5th block, so and so place. Now on the map in UPRO, they are, you're pinning it on the map.
Correct.
In addition to that, it will, the owner's name, the various details, you will be able to see immediately when you see.
Yeah. Thank you.
Whatever necessary details.
Correct.
But once you, for the authorities, more details are there. Earlier, there is no, see, usually in a property tag, in property details, there should have been a master data. So only through, when there is master data available, mutation, further transaction will have a mutation, and then the transaction the module should have been there. But they didn't do that. In property taxes, they just developed the standalone system where you pay your property taxes. It will only monitor whether you have paid or not. Okay, and all the details on it it was self-assessment, so it is not verified. So this UPOR is actually doing all this, and once for all, creating a master data of every property in Bangalore.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Thank you. Any other questions we have? Or otherwise, sir?
Oh, thank you. So, very well moderated session, conducted session. A final concluding remarks from Dr. V.R. Mamta on the topic digital governance for digital age. Madam, final concluding comments.
We have a long way to go. Although we say we've done quite a bit, but we really have a long way to go. If the dream that every government has, we provide you with Ramarajya. To get to that Ramarajya, in digital Ramarajya, we have a very, very long way to go, and that can come out, as I've always said, for us, by re-examining ourselves and welcoming with open hands the various collaboration that can come from the industry and from people to make it really, the true public participation and the true digital Ramarajya, as you call it. Thank you.
Mr. Prabhakar.
I'll just put it in one word. Future is very bright for Gen X.
So, ma'am has, in fact, both of them have summarized it very, very well. In fact, ma'am has gone, she has very aptly said Ram Rajya, which is in fad these days. So, we do hope that with the leverage of technology, with the advent of new age innovations, the governance becomes more and more participatory, governance becomes more and more transparent, more and more innovative. And if you would have listened to them, what they were just telling about the various schemes, initiatives, and innovations in the departments, the only thing which comes to my mind is that the past is behind us and truly exciting times now ahead in the future if we talk of the governance. So beautifully she has summed up that governance or government is just like any other organization. Just like any other organization, a service provider. If a service provider in the private sector can give its services in a very efficient, seamless way, then why cannot the government? So that challenge of the change of mindset, what she just said, the exciting times as far as land management, what Prabhakar just mentioned, I can only say that yes, we are lucky, we are now going into very exciting times. Thank you both of you, both Dr. Mamta and Prabhakar ji, for taking your time out. Thank you.